Hello and welcome to the channel. Let me ask you something. Do you ever get to the end of the month and wonder, where did all my income go? Maybe you're juggling bills, saving for the future, and trying to enjoy life, but it feels like there's never enough to go around. Well, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into a life-changing strategy that could transform your financial habits forever. It's called the 75-15-10 budgeting rule, and by the end of this video, you'll feel confident about how to make every paycheck count. Subscribe to the channel and let's get started. This method is simple, flexible, and most importantly, it works for real life. No overly complicated spreadsheets or giving up everything you love. Sound good? Let's jump right in. All right, so what is this magical sounding rule? The 75-15-10 rule is a way to divvy up your paycheck into three main categories. 75% for needs and lifestyle. This covers everything that keeps your day-to-day life running, like rent or mortgage, groceries, transportation, and even some fun activities like eating out or catching a movie. 15% for financial growth. This is where the smart money management comes into play. Things like investments, debt payments, or building an emergency fund. 10% for savings goals. Think of this as funding your dreams, vacations, a new gadget, or saving for a big milestone like a wedding or buying a home. The magic of this rule is in its simplicity. By splitting your income into these three categories, it's easier to stay mindful about where your money is going, without crunching numbers every single day. Whether you're living paycheck to paycheck or already saving, this rule can work for you. Now you might be wondering, how does this fit into my life? After all, everyone's financial situation is unique. Maybe you're a college student working part-time, a young professional just starting your career, or someone juggling family responsibilities. The great thing about the 75-15-10 rule is that it's flexible. For example, if you bring home $3,000 per month, the rule looks like this. $2,250, 75%, goes to living expenses like rent, food, and transportation. $450, 15%, is for growing your wealth, like paying off credit cards or starting an investment. $300, 10%, is reserved for your future dreams, whether it's saving for a beach vacation or upgrading your laptop. The beauty here is that these percentages are guidelines, not restrictions. You can adjust as needed. If 10% for savings is too much for now, start with 5%. What matters is starting small and building consistency. Think of it like a roadmap to financial stability. The idea isn't to restrict yourself. It's to create room for both your needs and your dreams. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How exactly do you stick to the 75-15-10 rule? Let's break it down piece by piece. This is the largest chunk of your paycheck, and for good reason. It keeps your life running. This category includes all your essentials like rent or mortgage payments, utilities like water, electricity, and internet, groceries and household supplies, transportation, whether it's car payments or bus fares, lifestyle spending for fun, dining out, hobbies, or subscriptions. Here's the tricky part. Keeping lifestyle expenses within 75%. It's easy to overspend in this category, especially on things like eating out or entertainment. Let's say your rent and bills already take up 65% of your paycheck. This means you've only got 10% left for things like Netflix, grabbing coffees, or that extra-large pizza Friday night. To avoid overspending, follow these tips. Track your spending. Spend 2 months noting where every dollar goes. You'll be surprised how much those little expenses add up. Cut back on non-essentials. Do you really need every streaming service, or could you rotate between them? Set limits on the fun stuff. Have a fun budget with a fixed amount for eating out, shopping, or hobbies, and stick to it. The goal here isn't to deprive yourself. It's to balance what you need with what you enjoy, without going overboard. Here's where the magic happens. Setting aside 15% for financial growth may not seem like much at first, but over time, this step lays the foundation for long-term wealth and stability. So what does financial growth even mean? It can look like paying down debt, especially high-interest credit cards, building up an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses, investing in things like index funds or retirement accounts, 401k, IRA, etc. If you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start, here's a guide. Emergency fund. First, aim for $1,000 as a starter fund. It cushions small emergencies so you don't have to rely on credit cards. Pay down bad debt. Got high-interest debts? Use this 15% allocation to tackle those first. The faster you pay them off, the more money you keep in your pocket. Start investing. Once your debt is under control and there's a small emergency fund in place, look into beginner-friendly investments like ETFs or mutual funds. Small contributions add up fast. For example, investing just $200 a month in a basic stock market fund could grow to over $88,000 in 20 years, with no extra effort from you. Finally, we've got the most exciting category, 10% for savings goals. This is where you put money toward what truly lights you up. Saving for goals takes discipline, sure, but it also keeps you focused on what you're working toward. Examples of savings goals could include a family vacation, buying a house or car, saving for a wedding or anniversary celebration, investing in a new skill or hobby, online courses, anyone? Here's the best way to succeed. Write down your goals and name them. Instead of a generic savings account, why not rename it Italy Trip Fund or Dream Car Down Payment? This makes your saving feel real and keeps you motivated. You can also break larger goals into smaller, manageable pieces. For example, saving $3,000 for a trip feels overwhelming, but setting aside $250 per month for 12 months suddenly feels achievable. Lastly, make it easy on yourself with automation. Set up automatic transfers to your savings account each paycheck so you're not tempted to skip a month. Now, it's one thing to understand the rule. It's another to actually stick to it. Life happens, and sometimes it's tough to stay on track. Here are some tips for success. Track progress. Regularly, check in with your budget every couple of weeks. Are you sticking to your percentages? Adjust if needed. Automate your savings and investments. Take the thinking out of it by making recurring transfers to your savings or investment accounts. Give yourself grace. No one nails a budget perfectly every month. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up. Just get back to the plan as soon as possible. Revisit and adjust. Life changes, and so do your expenses. If your paycheck increases, stick with the percentages, and you'll automatically save more. Remember, even small, consistent steps will snowball over time into big financial wins. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of the 75-15-10 budgeting rule, illustrating Jake's journey in action. Jake, a 30-year-old marketing consultant, had a problem. Every month, his paycheck arrived, and like clockwork, his spending devoured most of it before he even thought about saving or investing. He knew he needed a better system, something simple, effective, and easy to follow. That's when he discovered the 75-15-10 rule, a budgeting method designed to balance spending, investing, and saving without the stress of micromanaging every dollar. With his $5,000 monthly income, Jake put the plan into action. Living expenses, 75%, $3,750. For the first time, he had a clear limit on his spending. Rent, groceries, bills, entertainment, it all fit neatly into this bucket. The best part? Unlike extreme frugality, this rule gave him flexibility. He could still enjoy dinners out and the occasional splurge while staying financially responsible. Investments, 15%, $750. Before, investing seemed intimidating. How much should he set aside? Was he doing enough? The 75-15-10 rule erased the guesswork. Every month, Jake automatically directed 15% into stocks, retirement funds, and other long-term investments. Over time, his money began to compound, building wealth effortlessly. Savings 10%, $500. A portion of his income went straight into savings, ensuring he had a financial cushion. But this was where Jake hit a snag. He realized that saving only 10% meant it would take longer to build a solid emergency fund or prepare for unexpected expenses. Jake's takeaway? After months of using the 75-15-10 rule, Jake saw huge improvements in his financial habits. He spent wisely, invested consistently, and saved regularly, all without overcomplicating his budget. However, he also learned that financial plans aren't one-size-fits-all. If he ever needed to tackle debt aggressively or boost savings, he'd have to adjust the percentages. For Jake, the real win was clarity and control. The 75-15-10 rule gave him a roadmap, but the best budget is the one that fits your life. The 75-15-10 rule, a smart strategy with some trade-offs. One of the biggest advantages of the 75-15-10 rule is its simplicity. No need for complex spreadsheets or tedious money tracking. Just 3 straightforward numbers that guide your spending, investing, and saving. It takes the stress out of budgeting while ensuring your money is working for you. Another major perk? It doesn't force extreme frugality. Unlike restrictive budgets that make you cut every little indulgence, this method allows for a comfortable lifestyle while keeping you financially responsible. Jake could still enjoy his favorite weekend outings, dining out, and the occasional splurge without guilt, knowing he was still on track. For those new to investing, the built-in 15% allocation to investments is a game changer. Instead of wondering how much to put aside or second-guessing financial decisions, Jake knew he was consistently growing his wealth. Over time, this simple step would set him up for financial freedom, as compounding worked its magic in the background. But like any financial strategy, it's not perfect. If you're drowning in debt, this rule might not be the best way to dig yourself out quickly. Since only 10% goes to savings, it's not aggressive enough for someone who needs to pay off loans fast. A more tailored approach with a higher focus on debt repayment might be necessary. Another challenge is short-term savings. With only 10% of income set aside, it can take a long time to build an emergency fund or save for major purchases. If an unexpected expense pops up, Jake might find himself short on cash and needing to adjust his plan. Lastly, while this rule sounds great in theory, it may not be realistic for everyone. If someone has high rent, student loans, or lives in an expensive city, allocating 25% of their income towards savings and investments might be a stretch. In such cases, adjusting the percentages to fit personal circumstances would be necessary. At the end of the day, the 75-15-10 rule provides a solid foundation, but like any financial plan, it works best when tailored to your unique situation. Before we wrap up, let's talk about why the 75-15-10 rule is an absolute game changer. First, simplicity. It's not overly complicated. 3 categories, clear percentages, done. It's easy to understand and implement. Unlike some budgeting methods that require you to track every dollar down to the last cent, this one gives you structure without the headache. Next, flexibility. Life isn't one size fits all, and neither is your budget. The 75-15-10 rule allows for adjustments based on your financial goals. Need to save aggressively? Tweak the percentages slightly. Have extra income? Redirect it toward investments. It's a framework, not a rigid rule book. Another key point, wealth accumulation. The 15% dedicated to investing ensures that you're actively growing your wealth rather than just earning and spending. Over time, thanks to compounding, this small portion can turn into a financial powerhouse, giving you long-term security and freedom. Up next, sustainability. Unlike extreme frugality or overly ambitious savings plans that people abandon, this rule is built for the long haul. It balances present enjoyment with future stability, making it easier to stay consistent and actually stick to it. Balance. This rule strikes the perfect balance between paying for today's needs and saving for the future, not too restrictive, not too loose. Next, empowerment. Most importantly, this method puts you in control of your finances. You're no longer just hoping there's enough money left at the end of the month. You're giving your dollars a purpose. Forget extreme budgeting plans that make you feel miserable. The 75-15-10 rule lets you live your life while securing your future. You're spending wisely, investing smartly, and ensuring that your financial future is solid, without feeling deprived today. Ultimately, the 75-15-10 rule isn't just a budgeting strategy. It's a mindset shift. It keeps you in control of your money without feeling deprived, making it a smart and sustainable way to build financial security. At the end of the day, this rule isn't just about numbers, it's about freedom. Less stress, more clarity, and a financial plan that actually makes sense. Try it and watch how your money starts working for you instead of the other way around. All right, let's bring it all together. The 75-15-10 rule isn't just about budgeting. It's about taking charge of your financial future in a way that's simple, effective, and achievable. Remember, spend 75% on needs and lifestyle to keep life running smoothly. Allocate 15% to financial growth to secure a stable and prosperous future. Save 10% toward your dreams to stay motivated and excited about what's ahead. So are you ready to make your paycheck work smarter, not harder? Start small, track your progress, and most importantly, stick with it. Even tiny steps can lead to big financial wins down the road. If you found this video helpful, I highly recommend watching my next video, which is the perfect complement to this one. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on how you plan to give the 75-15-10 rule a shot. Let's make every paycheck count together. See you in my next video.